Officially, my name is Gould, Chief Discovery Strategist with 7 Stage Advisors. This is our weekly President's Meeting where we bring together all of the owners and key managers from all of our clients and friends of the firm and closely held associates to talk about how we should be managing our business, what should we be thinking about, and especially during this COVID time. This week's theme, we set the agenda every week, and what should we be talking about, what should we be thinking about and collaborating on. And this week's theme is customize the experience. Right? As I asked before, as you're coming on, type in the chat box, you know, we are now in the beginning of May. You're now thinking forward to the month of May. You made it through April. Remember, last month, at the very end of March, we were saying you got to get through April. Well, you know what? We all got through April. But at the end of March, you had an idea of what April was going to be like. You thought it was going to be Armageddon. The world was going to stop. You were, standing on the edge of the cliff. Did April turn out to be better than you feared, worse than you feared, or as you feared? All right, type that into the chat box, and we're going to share that. We're going to share that in a moment. Now, we started these calls 6 weeks ago. I started out with talking about an economist's view and a projection of where this could go. Here was a slide that I showed you. These pandemics tend to have a certain cycle to them. The red line is where we were, where we are now. And as we said then, Q2 is going to stink. I suspect for many of you, Q2 stunk. Q3 is supposed to be flat. Q3 is when we projected it'll be flat because we're going to be coming back. The economy is going to be restarting. We're going to be coming back to business. We're going to be coming back to life, right? And it's not going to be all at once. Now, there is going to be a surge of demand, okay? Well, but, it's been a couple of days, and some people are like, oh, my God, right? Give it time, all right? Give it a little time, all right? Depending on which part of the economy that you're in, are you in the goods economy, are you in the essential services economy, or are you in the non-essential service economy, you're going to come back in a staged manner, right? There are still restrictions in place for certain states or certain cities or certain counties or certain industries that have been deemed essential or non-essential. The theme for this week was almost talk your way in the front door, because you have to make yourself essential. That's going to be a future theme. We'll come back to that. And Q4 is set to be the recovery. Now, what just happened? The U.S. GDP had a negative 4.8% growth. Yes, that's the positive way of saying that it shrank, right? Now, normally you would hear this and say, oh my God, GDP has gone down. Let's maintain a little perspective here. The U.S. economy shrank at a 4.8% pace in the first quarter. What that means in real terms is $95.20 of the $100 that was spent the quarter before was spent in quarter one. And that's with 295 million people under shelter-in-place restrictions. For anywhere from 19 days to 31 days of the. So with 90% of the country under shelter in place, not being able to go to work to spend their money, the economy only shrank 4.8%, which means 95 of the $100 that normally gets spent, $5 got spent. Okay? What that really means, at the end of the day, right, the economy, has gotten a real kick in the teeth here. There is no question about that. It's been a brutal correction. Nothing we have ever seen before. This has been as relentless, merciless correction we've ever seen. And this makes 2008, 2009 look to some degree, and I don't, I'm not sitting here, let's compare, you're like my pandemic, it beats up your pandemic. That's not what I'm talking about. But back in 2008 and 2009, there was a specific industry that had systemic problems that had to be fixed, right? And it was the financial industry, obviously a big one, and there was collateral damage as a result of that. But that was an industry that, you know, had to be fixed, had to be repaired, because there were some systemic changes that needed to be made. That was not across. Now, it impacted everybody, don't get me wrong. It impacted everybody in a certain way. This has impacted everybody in every way, right? And we've not seen that. And there are things that we are simply not go back to. The world we knew it, the world as we knew it is gone. Just like when we went through 9/11, travel as we knew it, safety as we knew it, you know, was over. And we lived in a new reality then. We live in a new reality now. But I had this whole great agenda set for today. I couldn't wait to talk about all the things that we were going to talk about today. And then the government went ahead and gave new guidance, PPP. So the narrative a month ago was, geez, how do I apply? What is it like? What's the process? And we've been giving you weekly updates. All right, so most of you have already been given permission, meaning you've applied. You've got your number. You think you're going to get funded, or you've already been funded, okay? We've got to spend the money right, and now we have to prepare for forgiveness, right? What's that old expression? I'd rather just ask for forgiveness than permission, right? Well, you've done both. You got permission. That was the application. Now we have to prepare for our forgiveness. Now, be prepared. There's a lot of text here, but because we are recording, you'll be able to review it. All right, so let's go back to what the PPP is all about, because we're getting a lot of questions right now about, well, I got my money, what do I do with it? How do I spend it? All right, first off, you were granted a loan, and it is a loan based on your average monthly payroll costs for 2019. You can receive 2.5 times that amount. It helps you cover 8 weeks of payroll and some expenses. So you're going to use the funds for payroll, mortgage, interest, rent, and utilities as long as it was before February 15th, okay? Right? Now, if these expenses fall under those categories, they're eligible for forgiveness. There's been some new guidance, all right? Now, okay, so it's going to get a little technical here. That's okay. Just follow along. If you've got it, you got to spend it. Now, when this was originally conceived, they thought they would get the money, the PPP. They thought they'd get you the money to you earlier, and you'd have some flexibility in how you're going to spend it, when you're going to spend it. All right? They have not adjusted that yet. So right now, they're still saying, spend it by June 30th. Yeah, but what if I didn't get it in 8 weeks? All right, we'll jump off that bridge when we get there. For right now, you get the money, you spend it over the next 8 weeks. From the moment they send you the money, you're on that clock. All right, so you want to start using, you know, this money immediately. Don't wait. Okay. So now let's talk about the 75-25 rule. 75% of your loan has to be used for payroll costs. Here's something that's not relatively new, but it has changed over time. In the beginning, they were considering adding independent contractors to the PPP. They've since changed that. So payments to independent contractors are not included in payroll costs, and your independent contractors have had to go out and apply for PPP on their own, which they have done, okay? Now, you got to maintain the number of employees on your payroll, and I'm going to give you a calculation. I'm not going through it now. I'll show you the source where I got this. It was a really good article, and this is a good calculation to figure out how, you know, your full-time equivalents you had and how much, you know, how many full equivalents you want to have on your payroll in order to successfully maintain your head count. All right? I'm not going to go through all of this. I'll let you do the math. Basically, you've got to maintain head count and payroll costs. Yeah, but what if I fire somebody at $10 an hour and bring somebody in at $20 an hour, or vice versa? All right? Here's your calculation. Utilize the calculation, all right? And if, like, so let's you know, talk about this PPP for a moment. There is part of this loan that will be forgiven, you know, if you go down the road of applying for forgiveness, and you use it according to the forgiveness protocol. Okay? There's also a part of this that will not be forgiven. All right? Now, let me just ask you something. Common sense. Let's set aside all the math for a moment. The government just gave away $2.2 trillion. What do you think? You think they're going to forgive 100% of that? Right? Think about it. All right? There's going to be part of this that's not going to be forgiven. You are going to have to pay it back. But that's not how we're running our business. We're not running our business based on PPP. It's one of the things we are going to consider as we run our business, but we're not PPP is not going to control how we operate. PPP is an augmentation to what our business operations are. They are going to give us some flexibility. In some cases, it's a lifeline so you can keep your employees. In some cases, it's a working capital loan. In either case, it's a blessing and a gift to your business, and we're going to use it to help to continue to grow and thrive. Remember, we're going to be and leaders. Grow and thrive during this time. All right. So don't alter all of your operations just so you can get some money forgiven as opposed to pay it back over the next 2 years at 1%. Let's make the best business decision as if PPP didn't exist, and then PPP will help us through this time. Okay. So let's not radically change our business model as a result. I have been getting some questions about, remember we talked about clear the brush. People have said, well, wait a minute, if I fire a line worker, then hire a salesperson, is that okay? Yes, it's okay. We want to hire and rehire the employees that make sense for our business operations. Okay? So now here's some this is good news, and here's some new news. Okay? Now, let's say you've gone back to your team and you're like, okay, we're ready to work now. And they're like, well, I don't want to come back to work. I don't feel safe. I don't want to do that. Okay? Now, again, more math. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but there is an exemption if you laid somebody off or you furloughed somebody and they choose not to be rehired onto payroll. You just have to show you made a written offer to rehire them in good faith at the same salary, same wage, same number of hours as before, and they told you no. And if they tell you no, you just got to document it. Email, response email, better yet, a signed document would be best, but make sure it's in writing and be able to document that rejection. Okay? Now, they reject the offer, they might not be eligible for continued unemployment. They may have just gotten another job. They might have their reasons, whatever that is. Right? Now, I've been getting this a lot from people. Okay? This question. What do I do with some of the people who don't want to come back? Here you've got to, for some of you, it's a moral decision. You know what? The person is a little frail. Maybe they're elderly. Maybe they're susceptible in some way. Maybe they're vulnerable. Maybe they have an underlying health condition. Maybe they're immunosuppressed or whatever. And morally, you don't want to ask them to come back. Here's what we're going to have to do because here is one of the realities. Reality is you're going to have a hybrid workforce for at least the next 2 years. Okay, South Africa made a very swift decision to quarantine everyone over 60. Everyone over 60. You're 60 years old and man, I feel fine. Go home. You're on lockdown. All right? What they did was they made a swift move and said, he or she that is vulnerable will be quarantined. And they put that age group in that classification. So now so you may want to keep that in mind. Right? If you have a vulnerable, a part of your employee population, then you may want to consider how they come back to work. But it's time to get back to work, right? In a safe way. If you've got a job for them and they are refusing that job, you've got to think of the business. The mothership has to survive or nobody that you're trying to serve wins. Okay? All right. So now you're going to maintain at least 75% of your total salary, and your grace period is you can rehire any staff that were laid off, but you got to do it by June 30th. Okay. All right. Now go check out bench.co. They had a nice blog, and I was able to pull some of that from here. Very good article on some recent guidance. Okay. Now, remember, we also got the question, what about if I use it for certain expenses and, they're not on the list? Okay. Well, for starters, that's not going to be forgiven. All right. For starters, that's not going to be forgiven. When you apply for forgiveness, one of the things you're also going to have to prove is that you applied for the PPP because you felt as though, or you could make the case as to why your business was or could potentially be negatively impacted by coronavirus, by COVID. Okay, so we'll share that guidance. That's down the line when you start applying for forgiveness. That'll likely be a conversation we have a month or two. But so again, you're going to have to prove that you felt you were vulnerable to a business interruption or business reduction, and when you signed your PPP loan, you had to say you thought you could be hurt. You don't have to be hurt by COVID, but you can make the case why that was the case. Okay? All right. So April, was it better than you feared, worse than you feared, or as you feared? Paul, can we have a look at what some of the answers were? Did anybody offer a response to that?
Yes, sir. We have about 7 or 8 answers total. I would say about 70% of them actually said it was better than expected. There was one that said it is still surreal, and then a couple that said worse than expected.
Worse than expected. Okay, great. So now I can hallucinate who may have said it's worse than expected, because there's a couple businesses on the line here today that were under, full shutdown. So I can imagine that. I suspected that your answers by and large would be better than expected or better than feared. Here's why, folks. We talked about it a month ago, and I wanted to ask the specific question as we come into the month of May. And I'll ask the same question in the month of June. Was June better than you thought, better than feared, worse than feared, or as you feared? Okay, and what we find is that oftentimes the fear of something is actually worse than the something. Okay, and remember we talked about last week about the idea that as you go, your employees go. As you go, your clients go. In the past week, I've had these 3 conversations. First conversation, I turned down the work. Why? I turned down a very lucrative, large project that is in my core competency and I could do tomorrow. Why? Because I had some people laid off. Second conversation, I turned down 75% of the PO that was offered to me. Why did you do that? Well, the amount of work they wanted to give me was outside my comfort level. That's second conversation. Okay? Third conversation is, I just flat out told them no. What do you mean? They're ready to move quicker than I think I can, fulfill. Do you know you can't fulfill? Well, no, I don't know for sure, but it scared the crap out of me. Those are the 3 conversations I've had in the past week with maybe not you all exactly, but you know who I'm talking about. The representative you. All decisions made out of fear are the wrong decisions. We need to make the best decisions. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about elevating the client relationship for a moment. But COVID has ripped the bandage. There is absolutely no going back. For some of you, you've bought a business recently. For some of you, you've opened a business recently. For some of you, you've expanded your business recently. For some of you, you were just hoping to get business now in one, and then this came up. I get it. It's not fair. You didn't ask for this. Neither did I. All right? But if you think you're going to now have a chance to collect your thoughts, to consider what the future should be, to think about how this is going to go, you are not. That day is gone. You're in a situation right now where it is incredibly time sensitive, and the coronavirus has put a stake in the ground and has separated the customer experience. And it is not coming back at all. It started years ago. Don't get me wrong. It's not like this is brand new. But the days of somebody knowing what they want, knowing that it fits, knowing the size and specifications, knowing what their budget is, and then getting in their car and driving to a retail location, that day's over. It's gone. You're not going to the store to go pick up something you already know you want, already know it fits, already knows the size, already knows. You're going on Amazon for that. You're going on, that's a standardized customer experience. That has officially been commoditized, and you watch the retailers that now start dropping like flies. And if the larger retailers start dropping like flies, who's next? Think about it. Big retailers tend to have stores near each other in a shopping area called a what? A shopping mall. J.Crew is filing for bankruptcy. Sears is right behind them. Nordstrom's on life support. Okay? If these companies start to fail, guess what they're going to take down with them? The mall. Right? It's a commoditized experience. It's not because people don't like going into a large store. These are marvels of architecture, size and scale and construction. They're marvels. It's just that the experience sucks. That's why people don't want to go there anymore. Okay? And so you now are in a situation where you have to customize the experience and double down on the relationship with your client and find what is on their mind, what are their top 5 complaints about businesses like yours. Top 5 complaints, top 5 issues, right? And we need to put together an offering that meets those 5 complaints. When I launched my landscaping company, the 5 complaints I heard were: you people don't start on time, you don't finish on time, you will change order me to death, meaning you're going to give me one price and then you're going to change up and come back to me for money after money after money. All right, you don't stand behind your work, you're fly by night, you'll be gone tomorrow, and you're going to leave me with a bunch of kids or untrained people on my site, and I'm going to have to manage them. I took those 5 complaints and I rolled it into a guarantee offering where, imagine this, I guaranteed the start date of an outdoor landscaping project regardless of weather. I guaranteed the finish date no matter what happened between the start date and the finish date. Guaranteed that there would be no contractor-driven change orders. We would have a senior manager on every site, and I guaranteed all the shrub material for 1 year. Took all 5 of their complaints, offered an upgraded offering. Okay? That was my guarantee. I put a 35% premium on everything I sold. You want the regular plan? Here's what it cost. Let's say it was 50 grand. This is the regular thing you asked me for, regular scope of work. Here is the guarantee version, my gold version. Put a 35% premium on that. My average sale was 50 grand. My average guarantee offering was 67.5. Do you know that the 67.5 outsold the 50,000 version 2-to-1? 2-to-1. Okay? The 50,000 was the standardized experience. The 67.5 was the customized. And I won government projects on this, state projects on this. I won negotiated work, commercial, industrial, residential. It wasn't in just any one area. I was too young and dumb at the time to realize about, specializing in an industry. I didn't get that yet. Okay? We've got to create a customized offering. All right? There's no going back. Every business that you all are in, there's a part of your business that's product, but there's a service element to it. And what we need to do is we need to quickly, it doesn't take a lot of money. You're already messaging out. You already have websites. You all already have blogs. We already all have social media. We just have to now build our bold promise. Okay? All right? Now, I'm going to come to that in a moment, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time. I want to talk to you about our collaboration, the feedback you gave me last week. We did something about that. All right? So we are a month into our 12-month forecast. All right? Now, like it, don't like it, we got to do this every month, folks. Okay? Now we're going to go 12-month forecast. What's it going to look like all the way through March? Right now we want to go through April. Let's extend it one more month. All right? Line by line analysis of every project, prospect, and client. Some of you had a really good April. Part of the reason why is you pivoted. You sold PPE. You got in, you sold things to FEMA. You had temporary revenue channels. Kudos to you because you took advantage of the opportunity. And but you don't know if that's a permanent business line. Let's figure out if it is. Okay? You did what you had to do to get through April. We told you that. Get through April. You've got to get through April. Now, for many of you, the way you pivoted and knowing how you pivoted was good, and it likely has permanent implications. Permanent implications. So, for example, all of you, and I know there's multiple of you on this call that got into PPE. It's here to stay. Now, is it here to stay in the volume you're selling right now? Chances are probably not. But is it here to stay as a vertical you can sell into, as a meaningful business line, as a revenue line that you can have that you can use to either upsell from or upsell to? Yes, it's here to stay. Okay? Now, because here's why is the bell curve of demand is going to be for hospitals and frontline workers. There's no doubt. Okay? But what is every office going to have to put in place? Sanitizing and interaction protocols. We talked about it last week. You're going to have an office that's 6 foot distance. Okay? Right? Now, I don't, there's two guys that come to this call all the time, and they want to be TV stars, and they're on their way. I got to tell you. The best feedback, I keep thinking that we put together a good call with a lot of content. Glad you did the research. Good to bring it through. That's what I thought the feedback would be. It's not. It's Todd and Steve arguing every week about who gets to talk about their product this week or share something. Todd and Steven from Kramer Industries have turned out to be, the stars of the weekly show. So they're on their way. Don't worry. We're going to have like a Todd and Steve segment or something each week. But one of the things we've been talking about is, as you all know, they launched their hand sanitizer. And so we're thinking ahead to, all right, the new office environment is going to include this. It's going to include it forever going forward. After 9/11, before 9/11, you could pretty much walk into most buildings, suburban office buildings, right? And there was not the level of lockdown security that there is today. After 9/11, security got tighter. Access controls got more prevalent. Backup systems, security systems. New world. All right, so just like post-COVID, sanitizing and reduction of mass gathering is going to be the new normal. New York State just released a study that showed that the overwhelming majority of people who are getting COVID are not just 50 and above, okay? 14% are 51 to 60, and then the rest are 60s, 70s, 80s, mostly. There's a group that's 51 to 60. But most of them are non-essential workers. And by non-essential meaning, it's not that they're not essential to your business, but they are the line worker. And they are the person who sits in the office environment or is in the physical work environment in mass gap over a period of time. That group is getting infected at the highest rate, which means you and every other office, you in your office and every other client that has an office that you serve is going to have to figure out how to mitigate that dynamic. People I have in a room in a fixed for an extended period of time, those are the people that are getting infected. So you're not going to just give up your office space. You have to have a business. You'll have a hybrid workforce. You'll rotate people in and out. But the one constant is that you're going to have to be clean. So here's what we're talking about with Todd and Steve is we are in the process of researching and calculating, well, if we have 50 people in our office, 20 people, 10, pick the number. Call it 10 people. All right? If everybody sanitizes on their way in and way out, that should be 20 sanitizing transactions. How often does the average person go to the bathroom? I don't know, 3 times a day. Sanitize in, sanitize out. That's 10 people, 3 times a day. That's 30 times 2, that's 60. Right? So now we've got 20 times in and out of the front door, 60 times here. How often does a printer get used? How often does a shared piece of equipment get used? You got to sanitize before and after. How many transactions is that per day? And what they're going to create is they're going to create a bundle of sanitizing, a bundle of office sanitizing, and say, here's the kit for up to 10 people. And they're not going to say, well, when do you want us to replenish? Statistically, you need to be replenishing every 30 days. That's how you're going to know your office is clean. Not by asking people, by the usage, right? I used to joke with my son, Sean. Sean, you brush your teeth? Yeah, Dad, I brush my teeth. Really? Then why is it you've had the same tube of toothpaste for 3 months? How is that possible? If you're brushing your teeth 2 times a day and clearly using toothpaste, how are you not running out of toothpaste? Right? And then he was on, he's like, oh, that's a really good point. Didn't realize you were checking it. It's not that I wasn't checking it, it's just I just realized I haven't bought you a tube of toothpaste in a while. Because you're not using it. Because you're not brushing your teeth. Right? So we want to look at this from a different way. Okay? So we touched on it a little bit. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on it today, and then we'll go to some Q&A, and I'll talk about our marketplace. We have to think about, we've got to get outside the box. And setting the agenda as we've been doing, I want to have these conversations now in the coming week. Have these conversations with me, have the conversations with your advisor on your monthly advisory board meeting and your quarterly milestones planning session, or most of you, few of you are doing the AMP at this point. But if you've got a QMP coming up, a monthly advisory board meeting coming up, any sort of strategy session, let's talk about your relaunch bold promise. Right? We're kicking around a number of ideas for hatchet throwing. Stumpy's Hatchet House is going to reopen. Do we do the $1 hatchet throw? Come on in for $1. $1 for a chuck. Do we, frontline workers, essential workers, first responders, and our bravest and our finest, they're free in every group? Kind of like the groom gets their, when they bring in the grooms, the groom's ushers, they pay for their tuxedo, but the groom doesn't. We'll figure that out. What's going to be that bold promise? Let's double down on that. Let's get outside the box. Okay? This is a relaunch, and you have to relaunch your message. All right? Your message before it's not that it's not good. We just got to make sure it's timely enough. Because right now is all about timely. What's going on? Right? What I thought we'd be talking about this week is different than what I thought about we would be talking last week, because so much is changing. All right? So we've got to offer a contact-free experience. All right? All right? I promise you on this. We've got to offer that. I'm calling it the 5 to 9 plan. Most people are in their offices 9 to 5, right? 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to have to offer an option. Well, listen, we can come and we can clean the office. We can come and we can work on the copiers. We can come and we can do that contracting work. We can come and do that repair. Well, wait a minute. You and all your messy people are coming in my office between 9 and 5 and possibly infecting my workforce? I don't think so. I don't think so. Since you know you're already going to get the objection, make it an option. Okay? I can come in and do the repair between 9 and 5, and it costs you $50. I can come in from 5 to 9. It'll cost you $60. What do you think they're going to take? They're going to take the 5 to 9, unless they have to be there for you. They're not going to risk their workforce on you. So we have to offer it. Off-peak hours service. Okay? Let's do that. I remember when my father had his computer consulting firm, he used to do a lot of work building network, database work, but for financial services companies. And I remember I used to go and help out on the weekends. We would show up at, guess what time on Friday? 5 o'clock. And guess what time we had to be done by? 9 a.m. on Monday morning. Right? We worked through the night, first thing in the morning back on Saturday, through the night, first thing in the morning back on Sunday, done no matter what by Monday. It's just a different way of thinking about your business. Okay? Right? All right. So contact-free experience. Now, there's a trend that's been in the franchising world now for about a decade, and you're going to have to adapt to bring this to. So number four, comprehensive services. But the franchising world learned about a decade ago that you have to bring the franchise to the customer. Okay? So the gym guys have a gym in a trailer. They'll bring it to your house, and they'll work you out in their personal studio, mobile studio. Okay? The brake squad learned I can come to your office and do your brakes right then and there. They learned that. Okay? Cleaning companies, you don't have to bring the stuff to me. I'll come to you. Junk hauling companies said, you don't have to put it out on the curb for me to take it away. We'll go in your house and we'll go get it. All right? And I can keep going on and keep going on and keep going on. So if you're a hair salon, start offering in-home work. I don't want to be in somebody's house. Then do it on the back porch. Okay? If you're a restaurant, have drive-in service. Don't even get me started on restaurants. Infuriates me, restaurants. All right? Drive-in service. That's old school. That's the way they all used to be. Okay? And offer full, turnkey, done-for-you services. We have to come up with that option. Okay? All right. Now, I highlighted in yellow. This is going to be the primary relaunch strategy. The sideways strategy. Risk-free or free to get started. Okay? All right? So what that means is you are going to allow people to try out your service, even if it's in small amounts, at a much lower price, or for free, and if they like it, then they pay. Or there's a free module, then they pay for the rest. A former client of mine, the late Chet Holmes, used to run seminars, and he would say, listen, I've got your credit card on file. You could take the whole seminar. If you don't call and complain or ask for a refund within 24 hours, I'll assume you like the seminar, and I won't even charge your card until the day after the seminar. But if you didn't get everything you wanted out of that seminar, you come to the back of the room, give us your name, hand in your materials, I won't charge your card. And you got the whole thing for free. He allowed you to experience the entire thing before he even charged your card. Okay? That's one example. Right? It's the puppy dog clothes. Take the puppy home for the weekend. And if the puppy's not all you thought it would be, bring it back on Monday. Yeah. How often does that happen? Okay? Let them come in and experience you for free. Do a 15-minute strategy session. go and replace one hydraulic hose on the piece of machinery at no cost. All right, if they like it, then great, then I'll get the rest of the work. But I'll come in, I'll do the first hose, no cost. We'll come in, analyze the entire problem. You know, you pick the hose, we'll do it for free. If we met your expectations, then give us the opportunity for the rest of the work. Okay, so we need a sideways strategy, because in a sideways market, people are paralyzed. Right? There's some places opening, and they're like, I don't know if I should open. I should stay open. Are people going to come? There's a paralysis going on right now because the market is bobbing up and down. It's going sideways. The way that you get people to buy is you have to offer them risk-free or free. Okay? So let's think about how we re-engage people on that. We also want to have the rest of our menu. Now, in order for sideways and down to work, we have to have our up strategy premium offering, okay? So the premium offering is our turnkey offering or our gold offering. Remember, start on time, finish on time, no contractor-driven change orders, you know, guarantee, all that. We need to have a premium offering that has our best guarantee at a higher price, because that sets our brand quality. Think about how you bought your last car. You went into the showroom, or you were online, right? And you looked at that, you know, glossy Mac Daddy, whatever, and you're like, ooh, that would be nice. That would be really beautiful. But you didn't buy that car, right? You didn't buy the car that was in the showroom on the carpet behind the velvet ropes with lights on it. You didn't buy that one. You looked at it. You were very impressed. You said, wow, Subaru must really be on their game if they can build something like this. And then you went and bought off the menu. But it was their premium offering that set the brand quality. In 2009, 2010, when the U.S. automakers asked for a bailout and got it, the government said to Chrysler, you have to get rid of the Dodge Viper. It's not making you any money, and you know you have very little sales. They refused. They said, no, we have to keep making the Viper, because that's what draws into the showroom. Yeah, nobody buys it, but a Viper is not, you don't make the Viper because you think that's going to be a profitable business line. You manufacture the Viper because you think it's going to bring people in to buy all the other cars. So they successfully negotiated to keep the Viper alive for a period of time because it was a draw. Wow, if you could build that thing, you could build my minivan. Okay, so we want to have that premium offering. Now, if the market and when the market goes down, we want to have a membership, subscription, or club option. We talked about this last time. All of you membership organizations, all of you that have ongoing contracts, right? Somebody wants to take a hiatus. Somebody needs to go on sabbatical. Give them a down sell. All right, well, you can keep it in force. If we drop the price down to $20 a month, just keep paying that. That'll keep your membership intact. Okay? All right. So lastly, so if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, I'll pull the slides down in a moment so I can see you all. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box and we'll make sure to get them answered. The last week, and I thank you, Joe Parrott, for bringing it up, you asked what was everyone else's plan, right? Or what was part of their plan? And we had some dialogue around that. If there's anyone else that wants to volunteer that this week, we'll have some space for that this week. But what came up was, you know, how can we get to know each other and build a community that we can then collaborate, or maybe we can sell each other stuff, or there's a strategic alliance out there, or maybe I can be your Eastern office and you're my Western office, you're my fulfillment center, and, you know, vice versa. So we put together a Google form. You could type this out if you want. But we, in our email with the recording, we'll send you the link to the Google form. Fill out the Google form, 3 little sections. You're just going to tell us, we already know who you are, but you're going to put in your name, the things that are going to help us make matches, basically. Your name, you know, your assistant's name, whoever's in charge of scheduling, so it's easier to, or your Calendly or calendar, automated calendar setting link, you know, company, what would make a meaningful referral to you, introduction to you, and then we'll start making introductions. But we're going to take all the answers. We're going to put them together into a spreadsheet. We'll share the spreadsheet, and then we'll come up with the best platform in order to have this marketplace function, whether it's a LinkedIn group or a Facebook group or WhatsApp group. We'll figure out the best way to do that. I'll take some comments in a moment as to what you think would be the best way to go, but we'll for sure do that. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me come off share here. So it's just me now. So were there any questions, Paul, that came up? Or any other comments?
No, sir, not yet. No, sir.
Not as of yet. Okay. So what we had last time was we asked a question, you know, what is your plan going forward? Mel Rogers shared that her plan was that she went virtual overnight. You know, we were talking to a telehealth, a health company that is looking to go telehealth. So that's certainly going to be a big part of delivery. Not only are you going to have a hybrid workforce coming in and out, you're going to have hybrid delivery. You know, Steve McCaffrey from Metro PCA last week was talking about how he's doing video tour insurance adjustments, you know, and quotations. You're going to have to figure that part out. Great article by McKinsey about the future of the future of the workplace and the future of your operations, as they mentioned in the document. One of the things that they said was, you know, you may have been thinking you were going to do something, and then COVID forced you to do it overnight, right? We thought, well, there was one case study. There was a major retailer that was thinking they were going to do curbside pickup, and they had been contemplating and trying to figure out how to do it for 18 months. 18 months. They're trying to figure out curbside pickup. And then COVID hit. And guess what? They had the curbside pickup figured out in a week. 1 week. It's amazing what you can do when you're up against the deadline, right? So there's a number of those. As I mentioned before, we have a client that's a catering company, and they've been thinking about doing a home meal delivery service for 3 years. COVID hit. It was launched in less than 3 weeks. Okay, so you guys have done a good job of pivoting, and to some degree, you know, by necessity, we've been reactive to this point, not fully proactive to this point. All right. So if there's that part of your business that you've been thinking about, there's that part of, you know, that idea that's been marinating in your mind, has been percolating, you're waiting for the right time. It's the right time. It's the right time because the consumer's attention is up for grabs right now. Consumer's attention is up for grabs right now. Facebook traffic is up 40%, as if they needed more traffic, right? You know, which goes to show you that during times of crisis, during times of uncertainty, where people go. What do they do? Right? So, I have a hack for you all. They're going to regret I ever said it, but I have an inside scoop on where you can get toilet paper. Fully stocked, regular price. You don't have to make a move. I'm going to save that for later. Toilet paper, as much as you want. As much as you want. All right, I'll come back to that. Okay? But think about it. Think about what we do. I thought this was an American thing. I thought we were just weird here. You know, as soon as things get hard, we start hoarding toilet paper. But you can't buy toilet paper anywhere. Right? So, okay. All right.
Carl, if I could jump in real quick, you did have a couple of questions come in the last 3 minutes.
Right. I just saw those too. Chris, you might have already mentioned this, but when the term annualized in compensation forgiveness, is that limited to a monthly 8333? What about commissions? So commissions are part of payroll, Chris, so you can do that. Nothing over 100,000 annual equivalent will be forgiven. So yes, 8333, use that as your benchmark right now. I'm assuming that's not going to change, but as we get closer to the application for forgiveness, I am certain things are going to change. That's one thing I'm sure of because the guidance keeps changing. So I would just stay close by either on this call or with your accountant, as long as your accountant is pretty up to speed on the they can be included up to 8333, and that includes commissions. Yes. All right. And is the $10,000 EIDL money refundable if you get both EIDL and PPP? Well, you shouldn't get both. Well, sorry. If you got EIDL prior to PPP, the system is supposed to recognize that and deduct it. So once you get your EIDL, right, that's supposed to be rolled into your PPP. That's the way it's supposed to go. If you got both 100%, meaning I applied for EIDL and I got 10,000, and I applied for 100,000 of PPP and I got that too, that's supposed to be rolled together. So they were supposed to have picked up on that. I would expect that I'm surprised that you got that, but check with your accountant on that, but I would think it would just roll into your PPP calculation and you'll put it into your forgiveness. And make sure when you apply, you make sure that you say, when they ask you the question, did you know you were getting the EIDL when you applied for PPP? No, I didn't. I just applied for both. And that's what you're going to do. Okay, right? In other words,
that's all of the questions, Carl, so far.
We just got one. So yes, Chris, the short version is yes to your question. $1,000 base salary could have a $20,000 paycheck in 1 month with commissions. If that's the normal course of business, Chris, if that's the case, if for some reason May is a big commission month for somebody, that's when they collect an annual bonus or a performance review, and that's the normal course of business, then yes, you should be fine. If you all of a sudden say, wait a minute, I'm not going to make my 75%, so hey, you, Mr. or Ms. $50,000, I'm going to give you 20 grand this month to alter my structure to meet the forgiveness, you're likely not going to get away with that. If it's the normal course of business, like this is my annual review, or this is the seasonality of my business, or this is when a contract renews and this is when my money comes in, then you should be fine. Okay? But again, double check on that. That is going to change. I promise you, the government did an amazing job of getting all the money to us. Right? They're going to do an amazing job of figuring out how it can't be forgiven. That's my prediction. I don't think you have to be too much of a wizard here to figure that one out, but I think that's where it's coming. All right. Now, for the most important part. Endless supply of toilet paper. As much as you want. Sitting on the shelves. No lines to get in. You can get it all you want right now. Bet you're wondering where. Bet you're hoping you can get your hands on some toilet paper. Marine, boating, and RV stores are fully stocked with boat and RV toilet paper. Fully stocked. No waiting. You go to your supermarket, you can't find it. Go to your RV, boat, West Marine store, they got it. And they got a lot of it. Packs of 4, all that you want. Okay? So, I try to save the best for last, but hopefully that was climactic enough for you. So, for those of you, we're going to send out the recording for next week, and in that will be the link for the Google form. Put your name, put your name in there, what would make a good referral for you, and try to be as specific as possible. Don't, if you're thinking you're going to say anyone who or everyone who, that's not the right answer. In there's 2 questions I say, what's the category of person you would like to be introduced to? So that would be Director of Marketing, pharmaceutical company. Director of Purchasing at a, boutique manufacturing company. All right? CEO of construction company. Executive Director, nonprofits in this industry. Tell us the category of who could help you. And then if there's anyone specific that you want to meet, like I got to meet this Joe Parrott guy from High Speaco. Can you work that out? I'll work that out. Okay? So if you know someone specific, now, if you're saying, listen, I'm trying to meet the so-and-so person of, let me take an example. I'm trying to meet the owner of this business in San Diego, California, right? I'm going to send that request to Grant Leishman, whose business is down there, and say, Grant, do you know this person? Is this an introduction you can make? Now, so we're not going to be the one in the middle. We're just going to put you guys together. But it's likely somebody on this call has a contact or a way into somewhere that you want to be. So what we're hoping that comes out of this is you all can get an introduction that's meaningful to you and to your business, and that could lead to collaboration, an extra sale, solidifying a relationship, part of the supply chain. We're all worried about that. Here's where I think we can help each other out. So if there's no other questions, I think there are no others. I think we covered them there. Yep. Once again, guys, really appreciate you coming on. You made it. You made it through April. That was our job. Get through April. We did it. All right. We're alive and well and kicking. Most of you said that the month was better than you feared, and that doesn't mean it was good. Yes, I do. Who's got another toilet paper source? Doug, Ron? Yes. What is it, Doug? We apparently have a second toilet paper source, or an additional one. Quilted Northern? QuiltedNorthern.com. Quilted Northern. Oh, yeah, there you go. Direct-to-consumer toilet paper. See? Leave it to Doug Ron to know that. Well done, Doug. QuiltedNorthern.com. Direct toilet paper, direct to you. All right. Like I said, we want to help bring you guys together, together as a community. These are the things that we can definitely help each other out with. We made it through April. We're in May now. We are reopening. We need to reopen with our bold promise. It's time to update that. It's very easy to do it on the website and in social media, on your brochures or your pitch decks. It's not hard to do that. Let's make sure we've revisited what the message is, and even if we have a gold option to something we're already selling, so we can set brand quality and thought leadership. All right, let's get out of the gate first here. Remember, we're and business leaders, not either or. Well, either we're going to launch or we're going to tiptoe in. No, bullshit. Bullshit. You're not going to survive that way. And we're going to go out into the marketplace and double down with our customers and be safe. And we're going to celebrate the heck out of whoever we're doing business with at the time. It's not about numbers. It's about engagement in month of May. So let's make sure that we do that. We'll work on that over the coming week. Once again, have a great week. Thanks for coming on. Doug, thanks for the toilet paper resource. Go stock up, and looking forward to hearing how the month of May is going to turn out for you all. Have a great one, everyone.